Do you ever feel like you're stuck in a cycle, repeating the same habits, but not getting closer to the person you want to be? It all starts with breaking your bad habits and making the habits you desire easier and automatic. We usually think that massive success is only possible through massive action.
Which means a profit so far this year of 1,800 billion.
However, it's the tiny improvements every day that no one notices that makes the biggest change. If you investigate the math of it all, 1% better every day will make you 37 times a better person throughout the year. But only going 1% worse every day will bring you close to zero by the end of the year. The next thing you have to remember is to forget about goals and focus on systems instead. Why? Because goals are good for only setting a direction, but systems are the best for making progress. The only difference between a successful person and an unsuccessful person that have the same goals is that one has systems in place to make sure they complete the small steps every single day to get closer to their goals. There are 3 layers to behavior change. The first layer is outcomes, which is what you get. The second layer is the process, which is what you do. The third layer is to change your identity, which is your worldview and how you think about yourself. Most people start by focusing on the outcomes, but the best way to change your habits is by focusing on the person that you want to become. The goal isn't to run a marathon, the goal is to become a runner. The goal isn't to learn the guitar, the goal is actually to become a musician. The habit loops. A habit is simply something that is repeated enough times so that it becomes automatic. Habits are always formed by following a loop. This loop consists of a cue, a craving, a response, and a reward. Your habit loops must be constantly improving to make your habit stick. Over time, the rewards become associated with these cues. The reward to one habit may be the cue to a next habit. For example, checking social media may be tied to the cue of your mind going blank at work. Maybe checking Instagram is the cue that leads you to check TikTok, and then checking out TikTok is the cue that leads you to check out YouTube. Before you know it, you've simply wasted 20+ minutes of your time from the simple cue of your mind going blank. To make the habit loops work for us, we must follow 4 simple rules. Law 1, make it obvious. First, decide what habits should be kept and what habits should be thrown away. First, make a list of all your current habits, from brushing your teeth to making your bed. Put a positive or negative sign next to each habit, depending on if they're a good habit or a bad habit. You must also be specific with your habits. Always have a time and a location to do a habit. For example, I will read a book at 10 AM in the spare room. You can also stack your habits so that one habit is a cue for another habit, such as putting your gym clothes on is the cue to go to the gym and start your workout. A simple way to summarize this law is to make good habits visible in your environment and bad habits invisible or hard to get to. Law 2, make it attractive. Dopamine, which is the motivation molecule, spikes when you see the junk food, not after you eat it. This is called craving. A craving is an expectation of a rewarding experience. This temptation makes us act. This is why strategies like temptation bundling come into play. For example, you could be watching Netflix while doing your cardio. You need to also surround yourself with the right people. If you want to get into better shape, surround yourself with fitter people. Law 3, make it easy. Your life will be easier if you can reduce the friction associated with all the good habits and increase the friction associated with all your bad habits. This can be done by simply setting up your environment better. If you want to eat a healthy breakfast, put everything on the kitchen counter the night before so you don't have any friction when you get up in the morning. Follow the 2-minute rule for any habit that seems hard to start. Start by just doing 2 minutes of a habit and increase the difficulty by making the habit longer and longer as time goes on. This will help reduce procrastination. If you want to reduce bad habits, then make them as hard as possible to access. For example, if you start binge watching a lot, unplug your TV and put your remote in a place which is hard to get to. Law 4, make it satisfying. What is rewarded is repeated and what is punished is avoided. A habit tracker is a good way of keeping track of all your actions. The visual message of crossing a task off your to-do list is a reward within itself. Now, you may have some bad days, but the important part is showing up. You are always ahead of 90% of people by simply showing up. Now, the one rule you must follow is to never miss 2 days in a row, even if it means in those 2 days you're doing a lot less than usual. Another tip I have for you is to get an accountability partner to keep you in check. This is because as a human, you want social validation and respect, so you're less likely to break this promise with someone else involved. To summarize all of this really quickly, a habit is made up of 4 parts: the cue, the craving, the response, and the reward. For a good habit, the cue has to be obvious. The craving must be attractive, the response must be easy, and the reward must always be satisfying. For a bad habit though, the cue must be invisible, the craving must be unattractive, the response must be difficult, and the reward must be unsatisfying. Remember that your identity is always more important than your outcomes, and you have to be patient to see results. You will work and get nowhere, and then work, and then suddenly you will achieve something that seems like overnight success, but it is because you showed up every single day without failure, so you get to reap all the rewards. This video is based on James Clear's book Atomic Habits, so if you want to find out more, I suggest you get your own copy and find more strategies if you really want to make your life better. Good luck in your journey, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.